Earthquakes don't give warnings. They don't roar like storms or gather like clouds. You just feel the ground shift, walls rattle, and the air thicken with that strange silence that follows. And in those first 10 seconds, everything you know about safety is put to the test. That's why, long before the tremor hits, the real survivors are the ones who prepare their homes, their families, and their instincts. This isn't about fear. It's about foresight. Let's go through a practical, historically proven, step-by-step safety plan that's been refined through decades of disaster lessons, from California to Japan to Turkey. The safest people are those who prepare before the shaking starts. The first and most overlooked rule of earthquake survival is preparation. Once the ground starts moving, you can't run, call, or plan. Everything must already be in place. Begin by knowing your home's weak points. Older houses, especially those built before 1980, often lack proper foundation bolts or bracing for cripple walls. If your home hasn't been retrofitted, that's the first fix to make. It's not an optional upgrade, it's your anchor to the earth. A licensed contractor can add steel bolts or plywood shear panels for as little as a few $100s, which can mean the difference between repairable damage and total collapse. Next, secure the contents of your home. In nearly every major quake, more injuries come from falling shelves, flying glass, and toppling appliances than from the structure itself. Heavy cabinets should be anchored to wall studs, not just drywall. TVs, tall bookcases and mirrors must be fastened down using metal straps or quake-safe mounts. Even small steps, like keeping heavy items on lower shelves and breakables inside latch cabinets, can drastically reduce injuries. When the shaking starts, instinct makes most people do the wrong thing. They run. But statistically, running during a quake puts you directly in danger from falling debris and collapsing door frames. The safest method, proven over and over in earthquake drills and real disasters, is the drop, cover and hold on technique. Drop to your hands and knees before you're thrown down. Cover your head and neck with one arm and crawl toward a sturdy piece of furniture like a table or desk. Hold onto it tightly until the shaking stops. If there's nothing sturdy nearby, well, the next best position is beside an interior wall, away from windows, glass, or anything that could fall. Never stand in a doorway. The frame won't protect you from flying debris, and most modern doors aren't load-bearing. In multi-story buildings, you should stay put, and definitely don't use elevators. If you're outside, move away from buildings, trees, or power lines, and crouch low on open ground. These steps may seem simple, but honestly, they form the foundation of every professional rescue guideline used worldwide. Once the shaking stops, a second danger begins: aftershocks, gas leaks, and electrical fires. Most major quakes are followed by dozens of smaller shocks that can bring down already weakened structures. The first thing to do is check for hazards. If you smell gas, hear hissing, or see broken lines, shut off your main valve immediately. Turn off the electricity if you suspect wiring damage. Never strike a match or use open flame inside. Next, check yourself and those around you for injuries. Use pressure to stop bleeding and avoid moving anyone with possible back or neck injuries unless they're in immediate danger. Text instead of calling if networks are overloaded. If you have emergency radios, switch to local channels for updates. In historical disasters like the 1995 Kobe earthquake in Japan and the 2010 Haiti quake, survivors who stayed calm, conserved resources, and communicated smartly were the first to get aid and rescue. You can't predict when disaster strikes, but you can prepare for it. Every household should have a 72-hour emergency kit. Basically, that's 3 days' worth of essentials. Store at least 4 liters of water per person per day, and don't forget canned or dried food that doesn't require cooking. Keep a flashlight, first aid kit, whistle, gloves, dust mask, and spare batteries together in one waterproof bag. For tools, add a wrench to turn off gas valves, duct tape, and a small crowbar to pry open jammed doors. Don't store the kit in a closet that might collapse. The best location is near an exit or in a sturdy container outdoors, like a shed. Also, every family member should know exactly where it is. Rotate food and water every 6 months to keep supplies fresh. For medication or special needs, store a week's supply with copies of important documents sealed in plastic. This small, thoughtful setup can save hours of panic and confusion after an earthquake. History shows that panic kills as effectively as collapsing walls. The 1964 Alaska earthquake, the strongest ever recorded in North America, taught emergency planners that mental training, regular drills, clear leadership, and calm responses were as vital as physical safety. Practice what you'll do at home. Make sure every family member knows how to drop, cover, and hold on. Decide on a common meeting spot outside and have an out-of-town contact for family check-ins. If you live in a high-risk zone, apps like MyShake or the USGS Earthquake Early Warning System can give a few seconds' notice before tremors reach you. That's enough to duck under a table, pull your child close, or hit the emergency shut-off switch. Every earthquake leaves 2 kinds of people: those who wish they had prepared and those who did. The steps above aren't complex. They're the same principles that saved lives from San Francisco to Santiago for over a century. Whether you live on the Pacific Ring of Fire or miles inland, preparedness transforms fear into control. Start with your home today. Anchor what can fall, build your safety kit, and walk your family through a simple drill. If you found this guide helpful and want more survival and history-backed safety lessons, subscribe to Backyard Wisdom and share this video. Every view helps spread practical knowledge that saves lives before disaster strikes.